Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generations discussion on the fallout from Boruto Chapter 76. And today, I want to talk to you guys about something that a few people have pointed out feels like a huge plot hole that was introduced in the last Boruto manga chapter, which is if Nishi and his team did indeed go missing, and it's because Code finally has made his move with this Ten-Tailed army after such a long wait. Then why didn't Ada see it with her senrigan? And they're claiming that this is once again another instance where Boruto characters with overpowered abilities, they've been nerfed. So in today's video, I want to address both of those from the nerfing aspect as well as the idea that this is a plot hole, and discuss what the narrative impact on this will be when Ada does set her eyes on Code and realize what it is that he's done. So getting right into it, I don't think this is a plot hole that Ada hasn't used her senrigan to spy on Code, nor do I believe that this means that she's been nerfed in any way or capacity. I think what we're seeing here is a pretty straightforward answer as to what's being written right now in the story. We're seeing what happens when a character who has a very short attention span finally gets the one thing that she's always desired and wanted, which is to spend time with Kawaki on a one-on-one basis. She said before more than once that she gets bored looking at the various things that she does see with her senrigan, to the point where she will stop watching a scene halfway through it occurring because she has that short attention span. And the only time that we've seen an exception has been when there's been something involving Kawaki. And even then, Ada cut the senrigan off after a short period of time. Whereas fans were getting annoyed with all those months where we had to slog through Kawaki brooding in Konoha, and fans having to watch Kawaki have dinner with Naruto and family, get that headband and etc. Ada saw that stuff and continued to get turned on by it. She's gone from merely watching Kawaki from afar live his best life to now being given the opportunity to experience parts of his life right there with him. Kawaki isn't someone she's watching through her powers. He's someone who's right in front of her right now, and she's down bad enough for the boy that this is going to be a problem. In the manga chapter, look at the characterization that we had for Ada as a character seen through the lens of Sarda. Sarda's making faces and she's scowling when she realizes that Ada is just boy crazy. Like a lot of people said Sakura and Ino were just boy crazy about Sasuke in part 1, and only thinks about Kawaki to a point where she wonders, is that gonna be the only thing going through her head right now? This is important storytelling, because the girl who was described to know and see everything literally has her eye off the ball right now because she's too focused on Kawaki, which is huge irony right now. This has allowed Code to operate in secret, and he's making the most of it. He's built up his Ten-Tails army, and he's seemingly begun to move out now. He's done so in spite of Ada's warning that doing so will incur her wrath and make her send Daemon after Code, or in the worst case, she'll just kill him outright. Code saw and heard all of that and decided to make his next move more strategic than before, because he knows this isn't a fight he can win with brute force, and he needs to take his time when moving because he's only going to get one opportunity, right now at least. Ada, on the other hand, she's become too boy crazy with Kawaki that she's never even thought to cut on her senrigan to track Code's locations or to just keep an eye on Code, period. She's narrow-minded in that sense because in her mind, it doesn't make sense for Code to try and attack Kawaki while she and Daemon are in Konoha with him. To use a real-life example, Code was that guy that she knew liked her, and she kept him in the friend zone in order to get free attention from him because he was basically a texting buddy who would also buy her free drinks and lunch whenever they went out, but she didn't have to put out any box to him. And even worse, he knew it, he accepted it, but he was still trying to win her over despite knowing that she liked the other guy. Now she's got Kawaki. Granted, Kawaki hasn't exactly warmed up to her, but she's throwing herself at Kawaki nonetheless. I don't think we should consider this as Ada's been nerfed. I don't think so at all. The foreshadowing that this was going to happen, it was already there. We got told multiple times she gets bored very easily, and Code absolutely bores her. I do think this is going to have a few narrative impacts moving forward that do need to be discussed with the story itself that are going to be huge. Starting off, I think the moment that Ada learns that Code basically thumbed his nose up at her orders to stay away from Kawaki and not do anything aggressive aimed at Kawaki, which making a whole Ten-Tails army, that's pretty aggressive right there. It's also going to make her realize that Code took advantage of the flaws of her powers, which is that she has to cut her senrigan on in order to track someone by watching them, and she's been too boy crazy with Kawaki that she no longer watched Code because she was dumb enough to think that if Kawaki's right in front of her, then he's not in danger, which ironically makes Code the most Naruto-like villain that we've had in this series so far. far, because he's an example of what part 1 Naruto kept stressing: a ninja must see through deception, and a non-shinobi in Ada didn't see through the deception. That is, a silent code is a dangerous code that must be factored in. The most important thing to keep in mind is that this will also be a problem in the sense that Kawaki, upon realizing that Code has made whatever moves he's made, Ada could have alerted them if she would have bothered to cut on her senrigan in order to check on Code, someone who is a mortal enemy to Kawaki and is also targeting Boruto and Naruto. Look at how pissed off he got in the last manga chapter when he realized that Ada and Code, they had been working together in the past. He's either going to question her, is she still working with Code, or he's going to berate her for having the power to spot Code and not do so, and now everything's gone all the way into the handbasket with the word I can't say because YouTube has a new policy on profanity. Even if it wasn't for the benefit of Konoha, the fact that she made a threat like that to someone as dangerous as Code and never thought to make sure that there wouldn't be some form of retaliation behind that threat, at that point Daemon is probably gonna slap the taste out of Kawaki's mouth when he starts talking disrespectful to his sister, knocking him unconscious again, maybe not even setting him on the couch this time. But let's assume this doesn't happen. Let's assume that when this reveal occurs, Daemon is merely asleep in Ada's lap, or he's busy watching Paw Patrol somewhere, or he's riding on Konohamaru's back yelling yeehaw because Konohamaru's his new horsey now that Code isn't there. What this also does though is it places Ada in a bit of a bind. She's holding her ability to track Code as leverage against Konoha because she wants to get closer to Kawaki. Now she's in a situation where she doesn't have any choice but to give Konoha some information on Code or amend the details of their alliance, because leaving Naruto in danger is going to be a huge deal breaker for Kawaki, and that compromise is something that we have foreshadowing is something Ada's going to accept. In the manga, during the year setup that we had Ada more than once throw out the idea, the possibility that Code was to spare Naruto's life because Ada's not stupid. She saw the dependency that Kawaki has on Naruto and how much losing Naruto would crush Kawaki, but most importantly, it would push him too far over the edge to where she wouldn't be able to get her hands on him. He'd be too emotionally damaged, and damaged goods, they're not going to be any use to Ada. Ada likely wanted to get close to Kawaki to try to fill that place in Kawaki's heart that Kawaki had for Naruto, which that's a huge task right there. Very ambitious. However, nothing can happen to Naruto until she establishes a firm foundation and builds something on it with Kawaki. Naruto for Ada is the queen on her chessboard and Kawaki is her king. She won't sacrifice the queen until the time is absolutely right. Notice how even when she was working with Code and Code said, yeah, I don't care if he loves Naruto, I'm killing him anyway because he killed Ishiki, or rather he helped kill Ishiki because Kawaki was the one that did it. Ada immediately pushed back a bit, but ultimately she told Code that if he were to go through with killing Naruto, she couldn't be connected to it anyway because she'd have no choice except to try and fix Kawaki's broken heart when he got brought to her after Naruto's death and try to fill that void in his heart, even though it would be something that would be very impossible. Ada's down bad enough that she was at least going to try. Now that she's in Konoha, Ada doesn't need to sacrifice Naruto. If anything, keeping Naruto alive, it works in her favor more now than it did before. She's going to want to turn things around and break some bread with Konoha by at least telling them where Code is or what it is that he's been up to and done so they can make the appropriate steps. Then they can at least prepare themselves and come up with countermeasures. The other thing this does is that it would set a transition up for if or when Kawaki leaves Konoha, depending on how you interpret the vision that Boruto had. Boruto saw people hunting someone and we saw Kawaki with blood on him. It stands to reason it's Kawaki they're looking for, simply for the fact that Ada would be with Kawaki. Allow me to explain. Think about it for a second. If Ada's there and Boruto's gone rogue, unless she's been killed, she would have been able to spot Boruto's location. The Yamanaka clan has everybody connected. She could just give the location telepathically and then everybody would know where he is. If Kawaki were hunting down Boruto with Konoha, she could have just told Boruto where he was as well. However, the people hunting had no idea where the person was, and that means that Ada wasn't watching. It means that Ada wasn't helping, and there were no signs that the Yamanaka clan's hidden jutsu was being used to help people communicate telepathically. And given that Ino was able to connect an entire shinobi alliance, she should be able to connect with people when they're running through the Konoha forest. Ada has incentive to share Boruto's location in that scenario, but she has absolutely no incentive to share Kawaki's location if she went off with Kawaki. The idea of her being dead, it doesn't work either, because the moment that Momoshiki rips off her head and starts spinning it around his fingertips. Or say he places her head into his lap the same way that Pito did Kite from Hunter x Hunter. Daemon shoves that handheld gaming console that Boruto plays with up Boruto's rear end after he turns it sideways and he calls him a Rudy Poo. It wouldn't go any other way in that scenario. Momoshiki doesn't scale anywhere near to Daemon's power level, even with Momoshiki inside of Boruto's body and getting a boost from that. I think there's some room to raise conflict if we were to go the route of Ada learning that Code has made his move and someone like Kawaki figures out that she could have warned them about Code. I'm curious to know you guys' thoughts about this. While you think that over, click here to watch my Chainsaw Man chapter 117 review, or click here to watch this Naruto Explain video.